Well, good morning, or should I say good afternoon. Today is Saturday, November 10th, and we're going to do our weekly meeting off of the cardboard, not the book. Today's is about happiness. And I have to tell you, I'm really happy today. If you watched me last Saturday, you saw that I gained 9.5 pounds. It was like, oh, I couldn't believe it, 9.5. I was so determined this week. I really stuck to my program. I got my scale back out. I got my measuring cups. I got my measuring spoons. I tracked everything out. I tracked on my phone and in a book at the same time. I exercised every day. I did 5 perfect days. I have to admit that I think I did 7, well, pretty close to 7. I would say 6 3/4 because last night I went out to dinner. I did go over my points, but I did have weeklies left. So I used my weeklies, and so I still consider that a perfect day because I usually use all my weeklies on the weekend, and I have no intention of doing that this weekend. I'm going to follow the program again this weekend. I had, like I told you, 9.5 gain last week. I just couldn't believe it. It was funny. Oh, I'm doing this upside down. No, I'm not. I was thinking I was doing this upside down, but I'm not. I'll get all the way to the end and I'll find out this was upside down. But what was funny was like they were asking for, well, first of all, I'll show you. I lost 7.8 pounds. So I'm back down to 232.3. Isn't that great? 7.8. And I really think if I wouldn't have ate out last night, I would have hit 8 pounds. I really do. Because I think I had a crack of onion soup with the provolone cheese on top that's all melted and gooey, and it was very salty, but it was so good. And then I had seasoned fries, which are salty, and then I had a burger. So I do think I have a little bit of sodium, extra sodium in my body, but I'm going to take the 7.8 loss. I'm really proud of myself. I really am. So I'm going to get back into the 20s. I'm going to get there a little after Thanksgiving, hopefully. But it was funny because in the meeting, you know, the one girl was, you know, she was saying, oh, I didn't want to face the scale today because I gained weight and blah, blah, blah. You know, she was feeling so sad for herself. And the leader was saying, well, you know, sometimes that happens. And she kind of looked in my direction because she knew because she's the one that weighed me in. And so I said, you know what? Last week I gained 9.5 pounds. And you, honest to God, everybody's head went like that. And I said, yeah, you can do that. Turn around, look at me. And then I stood up and I go, here, look at me. 9.5 pounds I gained last week, but I still came. I still faced the scale, and it was the slap in the face I needed. I also think sometimes your body just needs, boy, I got kind of loud there all of a sudden. Sometimes your body just needs to have your metabolism kind of like slapped. And I really do think that my metabolism got a little jolt, and it went, whoa. And it kind of worked a little bit more. I don't recommend gaining 9.5 pounds to get that done because, anyway. So, the book this week, see, I'm so used to calling it the book. The cardboard this week is about happiness. And they tell you to get happier and you'll get healthier. It's a fact. The happier you are, the more likely you are to move more, get better sleep, and choose healthy foods. I find that to be so true. Everybody knows, everybody goes through some sort of a depressive state every once in a while. Sometimes it might only last an hour, but sometimes it might go on for days, and unfortunately sometimes it goes on for weeks and months. If it goes on that long, you really need to see your doctor. I find no shame in taking medication that's going to make you feel better. I take medication for my blood pressure, and nobody shames me for that. So if you have mental health issues, depression, anything like that, take the damn pill. I mean, it's just, if it'll make you feel better, why aren't you doing it? What do you care what people think? They would rather you were happy than a fake happiness or feeling sad and depressed all the time. None of your friends want you to be sad or depressed. They want you to be happy. And if there's a way to do that, take the pill. Also works in reverse. Healthy activities that feel good inspire you to keep going with them can also feed your happiness. Can you get happier? Yes. Well, a bit more than half of your happiness depends on genetics and your life circumstances. 40% comes out of what you do. You may not be making a lot of money on your job. You might have a lot of bills. You might have overspent on your credit cards. You might be having health issues. That is going to take your happiness away. you can have a family history. I have a family history of alcoholism, which for me is food. You cannot bring an alcoholic to a cash bar or open bar and tell them they can have whatever they want. They know they can't. Just like somebody like me who's addicted to food, you can't bring me in front of a buffet. I have to eat food to subsidize my body, but I have to learn how to do it and learn how to be happy with what I do. I pick and choose what I want to eat. I don't make too many sacrifices as far as I can tell, as far as having stuff that I really like. My husband Jim went away for hunting for a week, and he wanted to go on a date last night. I don't like eating out on Friday nights, but you know what? I'm not going to see him for a week. I'll go out to dinner. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to enjoy my life. I could have chose off the healthy menu. I could have had some cottage cheese and a salad. I could have had that. But that's not the way I'm going to eat the rest of my life. I wanted a burger and fries, and I wanted a Coke, and I had it. And you know what? And today I'm back on track. It was one night, one meal, that's all. I celebrated for the one meal, and you know what? I feel pretty happy about it. Let's try to think. Research has shown that certain small actions done regularly can give you a sense of joy and well-being. Some are extra powerful, like an extra act of kindness towards others, focusing on your strengths, and expressing gratitude for everyday pleasures. You can always find something in your life that's miserable, that you're not happy about, but you can also find something that you're happy about. It may be a little harder sometimes to find the happiness thing part of it, but if you really look, you can find something. You really can. When my father was dying, nobody looks forward to going and sitting with a relative, well, my father wasn't in a nursing home, but they didn't have hospice back then, but he was basically like in hospice, but in the hospital. I didn't like going to see him. I didn't like seeing him ill, but I always found something that we could talk about or have some fun about, because my father was on such a restricted diet at the end, and he wasn't supposed to have what he wanted. And my mother would give him whatever he wanted, because he'd say, because he had, they told us he only had weeks to live. And she said, I'm not going to deprive him. So my father, we would pack a lunch and we would go, and he wasn't supposed to have salty stuff. And if I was eating chips, he'd say, I think I can have one chip. And I'd say, yeah. So I'd give him a chip, and then he'd say, 2 wouldn't kill me. So, it's just, I found happiness in the fact that he could joke about something like that. I mean, my father knew he was dying. He knew he didn't have long. But, we still joked. We still had fun. And I know it's sad memories, but I can find happiness in that time too, because it was sad going to see him all the time. It really was, because he was such a different man laying in that bed, not the man that I grew up with. But he still had his personality, and he still had his Eddiness about him, because his name was Eddie. It was just a good time, and I can look back at those with sad memories, but I can also find happy memories. And I'm going to cry, so we're going to change the subject. Name 3 things you can do. Name 3 good things that you've experienced in the last 24 hours. It can even be just like a good cup of coffee. It really can. Write each thing down and describe in detail where you were, what you said, what time of day it was. Anytime my grandkids come over, anytime I hear from my kids. My son and I have different political views, and right now we're in a texting war, trying to point out the other one's differences in the politics. It's a fun banter. I'm having fun with it. I really am. Our feelings don't get hurt. He believes like he believes. I believe like I believe. We're not going to change each other's minds, but we're going to sure darn try. We're going to try as much as we can. I don't think we'll ever see eye to eye on what we agree and what we disagree about, but that's the whole point of it. I still have happiness. I have fun. Every time I see his text, I can't wait to see what he's going to point out, because I can't wait to find out what I'm going to do to counter it. It's just what we do. And Jimmy, I'm talking about you. So what you want to do this week is just choose 3 days to do 3 good things. It can be something simple, like your church has a food bank. Bring in some extra food. If you see a homeless person, even if you don't think they're homeless, sometimes they're just scam artists. Give them some money. Do something. Do something to make them feel better. But the quote, I should have started off with the quote. Why didn't I start off with my quote? My quote is, happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. And we all know that to be true. You can't just pretend you're happy. You have to do stuff to make yourself happy. What do you have to do to make yourself, you got to think of different hurdles that you're going to have on this adventure. A lot of people don't like the word journey anymore. They like the word adventure better. What you want to do is, do you have unclear goals? You have to ask yourself, do I really have unclear goals? Do I have a lack of goals? Do I not really? And I'm not one to make goals. I like to call them plans now because, you know, like, but my plan is to have a loss every week until New Year's. That's my plan. I have to figure out what I'm going to do. So what you need to do is you have to have a step-by-step plan. My step-by-step plan is to exercise as much as I can. With the weather changing now, with the snow and that coming so early in the season, I have to find different ways to exercise because I think it might keep me in earlier this year than it normally does. Usually I walk right through to January, but we had snow the other day, so I don't know. I'll walk in the snow if I know there's no ice underneath it, but we had like a rain, sleet, snow mix, and so I'm not going to take a chance with that. What you want to do is use the SMART program. S, be specific. M, have a measurable goal. A, have an attainable goal. R, have a realistic goal. And T, have a trackable goal. So you want to be specific. What you're going to do, when you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. Measurable, get those cups, get those scales, get those measuring spoons out. You want to have a measurable. Make sure you have an attainable goal. Don't say I'm going to lose 10 pounds by Thanksgiving, because that's not really realistic, which is the next one. Set a realistic goal. I really feel that just saying I'm going to lose, even if it's just not, even if I lose 0.1 all the way up to whatever I lose, as long as I have a loss every week, I feel that's a realistic goal. And I'm going to be trackable with that. I'm going to track it in my book. I'm going to keep it in my book. I'm going to keep it in my mind. I have it on my phone. I'm going to be making sure that I do it. What you have to remember too is that no journey, no adventure is perfect. If you go on a trip or a lot of times you run out of gas or you make the wrong turn. You're always going to make some kind of little detour along the way. You got to make sure that you just get back on the right road and follow it the way you can. And some of the reasons that you don't succeed is because you just have a lack of commitment. You have to ask yourself, are you working as hard now as you did when you started? And that's why I think I did better this week, because I really followed the first week of my program on Weight Watchers, not WW, on Weight Watchers. I followed that, and that's how I had such a great loss. I really do believe that. And are you really willing to do the work? It's a little bit hard to track everything, to look it up. When I buy my groceries, I did a grocery haul earlier today, I mark everything, so when I grab it, I already know what it is. I don't have to look it up. And you have to ask yourself, are you interested or invested? Yeah, I'm interested in losing weight, but are you invested in losing weight? You have to know you are invested in yourself. You're going to put the time and effort in to improve yourself and your personality and the way you think of things. You also have to check and see if you have a lack of focus. Are you too busy for success? I can't fit any exercise in. I have such a busy day, there's just no way I can do it. What you need to do is say, you know what, I might have to get up a little bit earlier to get that walk in or go to the gym or something, but I'm going to do it. And you have to always remember, where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want to do it, you can always figure out a way. You really have to remember that your body never remembers what you didn't put into it. It always knows what you did put into it. You forgot to eat that cookie, your body doesn't know it. You ate that cookie, your body knows. Hey, she ate a cookie. I'm going to remember that. And always remember that your path is always going to be full of distractions. You just have to steer clear of them. Just keep them out of your way. Just really, you're going to have distractions, but try to focus on your goal or your plan or your destination. This is the, what do you call it? The menu for the recipe for this week. I'm not really sure if I'm going to try it. I'm not too much of a creamy sauce type of person. I don't really like gravy or anything like that, but we'll see. So give this video a like, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share if you think somebody might be interested.